Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you, Amina, as well, for inviting me to come and speak at this fantastic conference. Yeah, thoroughly have enjoyed myself listening to many that have been in the field or have loads of experience. So it's quite insightful. I've learned so much, taking notes and everything else. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to progress and where this is going to go. I'm sure the future is bright. So my name is Annabelle Magalani. Annabelle Magalani. I was originally born in Uganda, Kampala, the capital city. When I was 2 years old, my family migrated to Sweden. We migrated to Sweden, me and my mother. And it was basically took place after the unrest of 1986. So when there was a lot of political unrest in the country, and my mom thought, you know what, the best thing to do and to give Annabelle a proper future is for us to migrate. So we passed through Kenya, went to Sweden. We were put on a remote island where a lot of asylum seekers were put. And I remember, from what my mom told me, that during the day, she'll go and she'll learn how to speak English, and then I'll be put in nursery. That was our lives for a while. And then again, the integration programs continued. They moved us to the capital city of Stockholm. And then in Stockholm, again, they kind of let my mom get on with it. At that time, my father joined us as well, because we left him behind when we migrated. And, life just progressed from there. I relocated to England as a teenager, and we moved to London. I joined a college there, Kingston College in London, did my A-levels, and I finally managed to apply for university. And when I applied for university, but leading up to that point, I was kind of going through a lot of cultural shock, because I was transitioning from a culture from a country where I was always the only white girl the only Black girl everywhere. And then I came to London, and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of people that look just like me, and so forth. So it was quite an interesting transition. Anyway, I applied for my A-levels, got an unconditional offer from De Montfort University to study marketing and business. And it was really, really exciting time. It was my first time leaving home, and I completed my higher education. And while I was at university, I was very fortunate to fulfill different roles. I used to work as a student ambassador. I was a class representative, and I really, really enjoyed my experience. I joined an award-winning gospel choir while I was there as well. And, so that's basically what I do when I'm not in this kind of settings or in academic settings. But it was really, really interesting. But through it all and everything I experienced, what was interesting is that despite my zeal, so for example, when I was at university, I did a placement year for the National Institute of Adult Education. I sought for work experience. I really sought for so many opportunities, but I just felt like despite my zeal, I wasn't really getting anywhere. Last year before graduation, I could see my native-born classmates getting job offers. They were being headhunted and so forth. And I just questioned myself, like, what's wrong with me? Is it that I'm not good enough? Is it that my skill set is not good enough? So I just, those questions were really in my mind. Anyway, so graduation happened. I graduated, thank God. And once that buzz faded out, I was now left in a position where I was asking myself, okay, so what do I do now? Where do I go from here? Education seemed like a good route, so I decided to continue my further education, and I went to Leicester University this time, and I did a diploma in economics. At that point, I, did a course. It was so hard, it was tough, but I did it, and it just triggered my interest for banking. So I went into banking at that point, started working for Santander actually as a customer service representative. And I worked my way up. I went from that to being a complaints manager. I then managed to get into finance. And then when I got into finance, I couldn't progress past a certain point. which is really interesting. You know, I would apply for jobs, etc. And for some reason, I just couldn't get past a certain grade. But, you know, in the midst of it all, I was still very, very thankful for the opportunities I got. Anyway, as time progressed on, I decided, okay, since I'm not progressing in this job, I've reached this level now, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. There must be something else I can do. There must be something else I can find to do. And again, for me, education was that passport to find, you know, other opportunities. So as luck would have it, I managed again to come back to De Montfort University. I think it was after about 7 years of working for the bank. And I pursued a master's in human resource management. So that leads me to my next slide, where I want to talk about a bit about my research interests. So starting my master's again was a challenge because I was working full time. And, you know, it was tough. I remember attending classes, I think it was a Tuesday evening, and I'm very grateful. I'll take this time to thank the HR teaching team at De Montfort University for really holding my hand through the master's and, you know, really encouraging me to go for it. But I thoroughly enjoyed my master's, no regret whatsoever. And, you know, so from there, I attending, I think I had two or three sessions with Dr. Chibuzo on how to do research. I thoroughly loved it. There was about 3 of us in the class, but I thoroughly loved it. And it just sparked something in me. It sparked an interest of conducting research. And hence why now I'm a PhD researcher. So my research interests are human resource management, looking at refugee integration as well, refugee labor market integration, and that kind of ties nicely into the UN's Sustainable Development Goal 10, which talks about or looks at reduced inequalities. So for my final piece, my crowning piece, as I call it, for my master's dissertation, I looked at challenges that asylum seekers and refugees face. It was based on refugees in Leicester, and I was fortunate enough to travel to Calais and collect some information from there as well. As I was conducting this research, I found different things, of course, and Baran et al. Argued that women have different repatriation and job-seeking experiences, okay? And the refugee women I interviewed agreed with this whole, 100%. That, they face barriers when entering into preferred occupations such as nursing, but then in other contexts, they still work similar jobs as men as well. Linking this to myself, I could resonate with the struggles that the asylum seekers and the refugees that I was speaking to, mainly refugees that I was speaking to, that they went through. Okay, I resonated with the findings of Baran et al. In my own research. Barriers for migrant women to enter preferred professions. It still exists. It's real, and as we've learned today, it's still a problem. Okay, but for me as well, there was some added layers. So there was a pressure due to where I'm coming from to have a job, okay? And I want to emphasize on having a job, okay? Normally it would look like having a 9 to 5, because where I came from, that was the normal route. That's what you did when you graduated. You got a job, normally in an office of some sort, okay? And your office could be interpreted very, very differently, right? So I was stuck in this cycle, because I was still working full time. I was doing my master's, but I wanted to come out of my job that I had in the bank because I just had reached an end. There was nothing else I could do. There was no way. I couldn't go left, I couldn't go right. So then I was there doing my research, but then I was stuck in this cycle of finding a job. And if you had 25K or so, I was happy. This was my comfort zone. So despite several applications, I was just never offered a job. So I was still in that place where I'm passionate, I'm trying to improve myself, I'm doing all this training, I'm engaging, I'm turning up to work, and I'm present when I turn up to work, but nothing was working out. So when I asked for feedback, normally it was along the line, sorry, but on this occasion, we have decided not to progress your application to the next stage. However, again, I never used to get anything practical or anything I could work with to progress further, right? At this point, I was desperate again. And, obviously I went back to pursue my master's in HRM. But finally, in that moment, I stopped looking for a job, yes, and I began exploring ways to build my career. And that all was birthed from me doing my master's, because I realized there's more to Annabelle than what I understood of myself prior to that. Okay, and I'm really, really grateful because I got to that place where, okay, stop looking for jobs, stop spending hours on Indeed.com and all the other job sites, sending in these applications, tweaking your CV to meet the roles that you're applying for. Take a step back, do your master's and think, how can I progress forward? What can I do next? Okay, and the opportunities came. I feel like, and I know that, the staff members that I work with, the way in which they taught us was not just, come to class, we're going to take you through the module content and that's it. They helped us think beyond that, okay? And that was really, really important. Fast forward, a lot of things have been birthed of me, completing my master's. I was offered a lecture position at the Montfort University again, which I'm very grateful to, Dr. Neva Muske for offering me that position and being able to, again, support the teaching team there. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And it just showed me, that actually there's more that I can do, as I mentioned previously. So fast forward then, I have the way I've defined leadership is basically through the various positions that I have been very fortunate at my very early career stage to engage in. So for example, I'm a lecturer, I'm a business subjects tutor as well. And in this position, my leadership role is in the classroom. When students come to my classes and and I take them through the content, they are depending on me for my expertise to take them through, whatever they are learning. So I don't take that role lightly at all, because literally this is, a massive determinant of where they will go next. I've been very fortunate to become a trustee of the Leicester City of Sanctuary, and that is again a local charity in Leicester supporting asylum seekers and refugees. And I'm also a member of treasurer for the Emmanuel Apostolic Gospel Choir. So this is a society I actually joined while I was at university, although at that they used to be called DME Gospel Choir. But yeah, so I'm a treasurer there. And in all these positions, I've been given the chance to take ownership. I've been given an opportunity to lead, to educate, to inform, and to bring others up as well. And to me, it's very, very, it's something that again has come out of me stopping and rethinking, not just looking for a job, but actually trying to build my career. And all of this has been birthed from that. Okay. So that's just a little, a bit about me and what I do, research-wise and so forth. But I will end on an important note, and that's the importance of having social capital, having a strong community. So this is a picture of me with the gospel choir, actually. This year, earlier this year, we met Reverend Jesse Jackson at a diversity dinner, and through the community of the choir, we've engaged with we've done a lot of work in the city, and so we were awarded for that, basically. But this group of people, there's a lot more people than this. When I came to the city of Leicester and I joined university, they played a major role in pushing me forward and encouraging me, and for me not to settle for just anything. And they were really there for me. And I feel like the next steps and how we can progress forward in terms of helping young migrants is that we need to build a community that is supportive, not just on paper, but in practice, okay? So I used to have times when I just felt like giving up, but there was someone there in the community that would say, no, don't stop, keep going. It's hard, but keep going. And I love, in a session that I joined earlier, one of the presenters mentioned how not focusing so much on the negative, but using the negative as fuel to progress and to move forward. And this community was that for me. And I feel like if we can build more of those kind of communities, there will be the change that we know that we really want to see. And because again, if we want to see change, it has to start with us. In terms of how men can help us, I was helped. My first teaching role, it was given to me, or I was offered a teaching role through, obviously, there was a man in position, and he looked at me, he understood that, this young lady can do it. And, I was given the reference, and then I was offered a job. So again, if you are in a leadership position, whether you're man or female, you have that power to, create opportunities for those that are not in the same position as you. And I think if we start from there or go from there, it does help, because I saw how it helped me. But yeah, really honored to be part of this today. A little bit about me. Once again, thank you, Amina, and thank you, Bisola. Thanks.
you.